Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hard. Today, I'll be breaking down this showdown slate here on DraftKings for Game 4 of Boston versus Miami. Coming off of that sweep there last night for the Western Conference Finals between Denver and the Lakers. Great seeing Jokic and the boys head to the finals. So hopefully the Heat can do that tonight. I like the Celtics. Don't get me wrong. I think they're a fun team, but it'd be nice to see Jimmy get back to the finals and watch the Heat versus Denver. Watch Twitter absolutely meltdown. Don't understand why people love narratives over basketball. Makes no sense, but yeah. Going to be breaking down this showdown slate, talking through my favorite early look core plays, as well as my captain plays, my utility plays, all the good stuff in this video. Let's try to get to 50 likes on this video. So make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Do really appreciate all the support. Um, maybe if we get to 60, maybe I'll do a slight giveaway. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, hit that like button, check out my PrizePicks video after this, and let's get into the breakdown. Before getting into the breakdown, just want to do a quick little recap of my lineup here. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter. We went 2-0 on the price pick plays from last night. So, nice little 2-0 sweep. Went 5 out of 6 on the Patreon 6x slip as well. So close to $500, hitting the 25x there. But Anthony Davis was just terrible in that second quarter. But yeah, still went 5x there. So, doubled up my money there, and we doubled up our money on the 2-0 sweep. So, great day over there on price picks. Managed to, minimum cash here with my lineup with Anthony Davis, Jokic, MPJ, KCP, Schroeder, and then just went with the punt play, the guy minimum price strategy, and it led me to minimum cash, so nothing crazy there. But the guy I did talk about for like a good 2 to 3 minutes last night in my showdown, breakdown was Aaron Gordon. I talked about if you wanted a guy who was super low, super low ownership, a nice pivot play off of a KCP, a nice pivot play off of MPJ. Aaron Gordon was your guy that no one would play, and he does have 30 plus upside. What happened? He went for 42, had his best game of the series, absolutely went off. So yeah, if you guys did play him, I talked about him. Unfortunately, I didn't play him, but it was nice, finally calling it out, and he actually did well. So it was nice to see that. But yeah, starting off with this game here, it is actually finally a 1.5 point a spread favored to the Heat. The first three games, obviously, the Celtics were favored. The sports books finally are now favoring the Heat. 1.5 point spread favored to them, as well as a 216 game total. So that is the news there. And now let's get into this breakdown. So for the Boston side here, Tatum going to be my favorite captain play of the night. Obviously, he's about almost what's it $4,000 more expensive between him and Brown. So you are paying a hefty price tag, but we know the ceiling there with Tatum is just massive. His floor has been pretty solid as well. It's been pretty big, usually close to 45 fantasy points, but we just know the whole team has just really struggled, especially Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's been god awful, but Jason Tatum has really struggled in that Philadelphia series. He really struggled in the first quarter there of every game, and then he turned it on in the second half. In this series, he's really struggled in the fourth quarter. I don't think he has a single field goal in 3 straight games in the fourth quarter. It makes no sense. So I like riding with him. We know the upside with him is 60, 70, 80 plus if he's really hitting the shots and doing well. So I like him as his upside as a captain. And now I do think the more balanced build is probably the way to go for tonight. Like just paying up for or paying down for a captain like a guy like Smart, Horford, Brogdon, even Derek White, who's super cheap. His minutes have been going up. If you got you like 25 to 30 fancy points, it would really help you out. Dennis Schroeder last night was the optimal captain play. Then you were able to play up for Anthony Davis and Jokic. So yeah, it's one of those things where if one of these cheaper value guys has a solid game, that's probably going to be the optimal captain play because it allows you to pay up for five very two studs and three other like very solid guys. So that's kind of the optimal build I'm gonna go with is probably as of right now the early look. I think I'm gonna stick with just Tatum the captain, but I'll play around and see if what I like, and I'll put it down in my Patreon link down below in terms of my kind of optimal build for tonight. But right now, I do like Tatum and the captain. We know the upside is there. Brown, I do think he might go a little bit under owned just because he's been god awful. He's priced pretty high up there, 10,000 compared to some other people. So I do think people will overlook him. So if you want to go there for ownership reasons, don't mind it. We know he has 50 plus upside. It's just he has not been good at all. But I do expect Boston to turn it around and probably win tonight. We'll have to wait and see. But I do expect them to have a very solid game all around through 4 quarters. Marcus Smart, his prices came up a little bit. It's just one of those things, he should see mid 30s minutes. He does have some very solid upside, even if he's not hitting a shot. So I do like him at 7,800, but I probably prefer paying down to a White or a Brogdon. And that might be a lot of people's mindsets. So Smart might be one of those guys too that also comes in at pretty low ownership. All Horford, playing just god awful, but we know he can go for 30 plus easily without even hitting shots. So it's like I do like him there at 7,000. Um, Brogdon, I do really like him, 6,800. Minutes have come down, 26 and then 18. Obviously, they got blown out. He just not did not hit his shots, but I do think we expect at least 30 minutes out of Brogdon. And he's been super productive. So I think he's a very solid play there at 6,800. Robert Williams, minutes have kind of dropped and his price point has come up. So just more of a risky kind of contrarian play there at 5,200. We know he has double double upside. He just really hasn't flashed it. Not really the best series for him either. So yeah, he's just more of a risky play. Derek White probably going to be super popular. 23 minutes, 26. It seems like his minutes are going to be steady. Once again tonight, if you get his shots, stay out of foul trouble. He should see mid 20s minutes. It's kind of what it seems and looks like. So yeah, I think at 4,400, he makes for a very strong utility play. You can definitely put him in the captain play as well. I expect a lot of people will probably do that. Is put him in the captain, allow you to pay up for 2, maybe even 3 stars. So that'll probably be a popular route for tonight. Grant Williams, he's actually been playing a ton of minutes. I think we can kind of expect the minutes to maybe go down a little bit. He's been getting absolutely cooked by Jimmy whenever he is in there. I'm not really sure why Joe Mazzulla thinks Grant Williams could guard Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy absolutely loves it because it's just free buckets. But yeah, I think we expect at least 15 minutes. Obviously, 20 to 25, even a few more than that is great. But yeah, I think it makes for a strong value play there, even if he only sees like 15 minutes tonight. And that's really it for the Boston side. For the Miami side, obviously, Jimmy, very strong captain play, very strong utility spot play. If you're not going to play him the captain, it's hard not to at least play him in the utility spot just because of his upside, and he's pretty much the whole team. So he's a very, very strong play. Really like Jimmy. Bam, kind of like a Jalen Brown. He's been super, super aggressive. He's actually been really good this series, even though it doesn't look like it. Only 38, but then 57, then 22. But he's just been very aggressive. Like, he's stayed out of foul trouble. You should see probably 38, 39 minutes. He almost went for triple double in game 2. Game 3, everyone else stepped up, so he didn't have to do too much. But yeah, he's been really, really solid this series, surprisingly, after just being non aggressive in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. So I think Bam might go overlooked and is a strong utility spot play. Don't know if I'd put him in the captain play, but I think he's a strong utility spot play, even though he's kind of pricey. Caleb Martin probably going to be super popular. People are going to chase the last 3 games, which I think is fair. Like I talked about how I really liked him. I've played him the last 3 games. He's really worked out. Hard to expect him to shoot about 70% in the 4 straight games, but I mean, he should see at least 30 minutes. It did help out that Kevin Love got injured, so he got a few extra minutes, got in early in the first quarter. But yeah, I mean, he's just a high energy guy. He can get rebounds, he can drive, he can shoot. So I think he's a strong mid range play. Depending on how high owned he is, maybe I'd rather pivot off of him, but I think he's a strong option. Same thing, Kyle Lowry. I think he might go a little overlooked. Kind of one letdown. I guess you could say 1 or 2 letdown games here in back to back games. But if he's hitting his shots and stay out of foul trouble, he should see mid to high 30s, mid to high 20s minutes, maybe even close to 30 minutes. So I think he's a strong option there at 5,600. Strus, a little bit too scoring dependent for me. If you think he's going to hit his threes, then he should see about 30 minutes. But still, I don't know. It's just hard to trust him unless he absolutely goes crazy from 3 at 5,400. He's just more of a contrarian option there. Gabe Vincent probably going to be super, super popular, but this is what I talked about. If he's going to stay out of foul trouble and he's actually going to hit a few shots, he should see mid 30s minutes. And that's what he's seen, this series so far. So I think he's a strong option at 5,000. They didn't raise his price tag. Hard not to really like him there at 5,000. Duncan Robinson, just the cheaper version of Strus. Minutes aren't a guarantee like a Strus, but he's actually been shooting the ball very, very well. So once again, too scoring dependent for me, but he gives you that option, that salary relief option down there at 3,800 for a guy that should see about 15 minutes, depending on how Strus is playing. Kevin Love should be good to go. Probably only sees 15 minutes. Even if he's playing well, they don't extend him. So if you're playing 150 lineups, I'd say throw him in a few if you want to. But yeah, really no need to get to Kevin Love. I don't see how they would play him more than 15 minutes tonight. And Cody Zeller, his minutes will probably drop back down to 9 or 10 with Kevin Love back. So nothing's really changed there. In terms of the captain plays, as I said, I think Tatum right now is the guy I'm going to go with, but I do think a lot of people are going to go to Derek White in the captain spot, even a guy like Horford or Brogdon or Smart. I think they're viable captain options. that should allow you to pay for, two studs as well. So I think the more optimal build, it would probably be pay up for two cap or pay up for two star options between Tatum, Jimmy, and Brown. I guess you could throw Bam in there as well, and then try to get a more balanced build is kind of the route to go with. I think for tonight. So right now, I do like Tatum. It's hard not to like Jimmy there in the utility spots, and then I do like getting to Kyle Lowry 5,600. If you wanted to get different from the field, because I know a lot of the field will probably play at least, they'll probably either go to Kyle Lowry or they'll probably just go to Gabe Vincent. But if you want to get different from the field, you can definitely play both of them. They do play some minutes together. It's not like one is in and the other's out. They do kind of split some minutes at times, depending on how they're doing. So you can definitely do that, which would help you get different from the field. But right now, I think the three I like are these three. And then if I had to throw in the fourth, it'd probably be Brogdon there at 6,800, but obviously not a lot of salary left over, 3,100. You'd have to be forced to pay for a guy like Kevin Love, Grant Williams, or do the option where you just pay for a guy who's probably going to get you a zero. If you did that, obviously it would allow you to pay up for at least Robert Williams and down below, but you're obviously getting a zero there. So yeah, that is kind of the early look core play route that I'm going is Tatum, Butler, Kyle Lowry, Brogdon. Probably will switch things up. So stay updated with me on my Patreon link down below. That's where I have my final core plays. Hit that like button and subscribe. And let's get into the prize picks video for later today. Peace.